Hello guys, Sir Grandelot here. 22nd of October is the day that Chaos Zero Nightmare is going to be released, and here are my thoughts regarding all the characters that we got to play during the limited playtest. It's in tier list form, but it's not exactly a tier list, so don't think that, oh my god, Sir Grandelot went through some spreadsheet and he calculated that the damage per second of character X equals with... No. It's just general thoughts regarding how strong a character is, how fun the character is to play, or unfun. I will get through it character by character, so don't worry, everything will hopefully be clear by the end of this video. It's just that the tier list is a fairly convenient visual representation of what I want to express. And the order in which I will rank the characters, in which I will put them on the tier list, is the same as the video that I released not long ago, with all the details of every single character, all their cards, and all the sort of good stuff. So if you want to follow along, you can check this video and then move to the other video and watch them, play them in loop on multiple bot accounts, buff my ad revenue income, and then maybe I will not need to rely on cheap dog food for the rest of the week. I do not have a dog, by the way. But let's get started. Let's start with Luke first, as I go into Firefox there. He's fun and strong. He's exclusively a single target damage dealer. He's essentially a hyper carry character who wants to just nuke stuff one by one, meaning that he's going to be very strong against bosses that are, one dude. He's going to be a little bit coping stages or against bosses that rely on dealing against a multitude of enemies rather. But he is pretty solid. Calliope is in a weird spot. I will put her here in goated for now, but to fully understand why, you need to read her kit. Essentially, she is a damage dealer who also shields your team. She does everything. And it's very convenient for day one. Like, if you go to the beginner banner and you get Calliope, you can be like, yeah, I win at Chaos Zero Nightmare for the time being. The problem is that a character who does two things like her, dealing damage and shielding, is the easiest character to power creep. Because the moment a character deals way more damage than her, and you can rely on someone else for shielding or healing, you no longer care about Calliope's damage. And when we get new limited shielders and defensive units, they're going to be better than her. And you're not going to be playing her as a shielder, because, there is someone better. And since we have a limited amount of action points each turn, if her damage output is not ideal and her defensive ability is not ideal, you are never going to use her cards. So she's going to be, for me, this is a personal opinion, in the future she's going to be in a very weird spot. Like, there could be a huge question mark around her. As day one, she's probably top 3 characters that you can pull from the beginner banner. And now we go to my beloved Magna. And unfortunately... No, Magna is very good. He's very good. She's not goated. She's actually between fun and strong. But because our characters in the very beginning of the game are like, you do not have a build. You have whatever characters the banners give you, you level them up a bit, and then you're stuck with your progress, and you just need to cope with what you have available. Magna being a defensive unit who counterattacks, she's basically a win condition in and on herself, who also prevents you from dying. So, very strong character. Her damage output is... Let's say that if you have Magna and a bunch of 4-star, Magna feels amazing. If you have Magna and someone like Rin or Chiron or Fiawi, you'll be like, oh, so that one is damage, not Magna's. But she's a solid character. I would be very happy to get her again on day one at release. And let's go to Rin. Rin, we need to put her in goated. Absolutely goated. She's a damage dealer and she deals an insane amount of damage. She's a pure DPS unit, and every turn she's going to use her cards just to dish out as much damage as possible. She's very, very straightforward to be played, and extremely strong. Extremely strong. Just, hyper carry kind of character, and phenomenal. I got her on the last day of the playtest, and I would be much happier to get her on day one. Then we go to Orlea. Orlea is between Goated and Fun and Strong, but I will put her in Fun and Strong. She's extremely flexible, and she is a one character win condition. You have to go to check her cards to understand exactly what she does. She generates a bunch of characters that stay in your hand, which is not very common. There are not many cards in the game with the retain ability. Usually, all the cards that you have at the end of the turn are discarded. But Orlea generates some cards that stay in your hand. And a couple of those cards get stronger and stronger. Well, not really. Let me put... One card gets stronger and stronger the longer you have it in hand. And it's a single target nuke. The other two cards are a damage buff that you can use it to get extra buffs during one turn, or you can keep it there to get a consistent buff. And the other one is a shield/heal card. All of this happen without her having to use any action points outside of the first turn. And the card that stays in your hand becoming stronger, the single target nuke, I got to one-shot a boss in the third Chaos manifestation. I did it on purpose because I had a team with Magna, Maribel, and Orlea. So I had endless amounts of shields, I had healing in case I needed some cheap damage, and I just kept tanking and tanking and tanking until that card from Orlea was able to one-shot the boss. It's glorious. She's extremely flexible, extremely flexible. Uses little to no action points. You get a bit of healing each turn. You get some shield if you need. I really like her. Really like her. None of her abilities feel very strong. And the single target nuke that hangs like a sword of Damocles above the enemy's head takes quite a while to actually get to work well. But you know, it's possible that 6 months from now, Orlea is a character that when you get her, you're like, fuck. But I really enjoyed playing her, so we shall see. Next one. We have... we have Rin. Okay, Rin, I think I will have to put her here. And again, this is not exactly an issue. Oh no, wait, this is Meilin! It's Meilin! I was having a stroke, I'm sorry. I apologize, Meilin. They look a bit similar, they are in the same pose, and my brain had a fart. Meilin, damage dealer. I will put her in fun and strong, a very straightforward character. She sets up her combos. There is not a lot to say about her. What I love the most about her are the animations, because they remind me of the combat... how were they? The beat 'em up games from the 80s and 90s. More 90s than 80s, let's say. And I really like her design. She's powerful. She's a strong character to get on day one, so she's fine. Probably between fun and strong and solid. Later, as I go through the tier list again, I may consider pulling her down a little bit, depending on how many characters we have in fun and strong. You know what? Let's do it now, just because it makes the tier list look a little bit more pleasant from a visual point of view. Veronica solid, so I could have done this, but it's too late. There is no way to change things. What is done is done. Veronica stronger. It feels to me like her kit is going to really shine when we get more units that synergize with how she sets up damage. Essentially, she plays some ballistas that deal damage. but they're not a direct damage card like, I don't know, Rin slashes the universe, one-shots the screen. Fine, that's very simple. Veronica is a bit different from that point of view. She was fine. She definitely has a lot of potential. Would I be happy to get her day one? Maybe yes. Maybe yes. But to be honest, there are no characters that are absolute S, with the exception of maybe a couple. Renoa, I will put her in solid. Renoa has one issue, which is her whole kit relies on one specific card. She's basically a combo character. What she wants to do is that she wants to generate a bullet and combine it with a card that lets you discard essentially all the bullets in your hand to deal extra damage. And you know, the card that we draw in hand each turn is random. So you could get the card that deals extra damage based on the bullets that you have, but you don't have the card that generates the bullet. Or you could have the card that generates the bullets, but you don't have the one that deals damage. It can be a little bit frustrating. Overall, she's a great character, and I really like some of her animations, and she's definitely a strong character when she works. Right now, there isn't much in terms of card manipulation, draw engines, and all that sort of stuff. So I have a feeling that combo characters like her are going to be better as the game keeps going, because off the top of my head, these two are the only two characters with some consistent card drawing slash manipulation. And I'm not even sure about Cassius. I may be having an aneurysm right now, but I believe Cassius has some card draw shenanigans. Sort of. Like you discard your hand, you draw it again. Hugo, solid. He was okay. He didn't completely blew me away. Fine character between here and okay, but I will leave him in solid just because his voice actor is Omega Goated. So, you know, he gets some extra points for that. Damage dealer, by the way. Just a regular damage dealer. Doesn't do anything particularly amazing, to be honest. he was fine. He didn't give me the same impression as Rin and the next one on the list, who is Chiron. Chiron is a little bit like a Renoa Hypermax. He's another combo character who wants to properly set up his turns, the way in which he plays his cards, and he really shines when he has the correct hand. He's essentially an AoE version of Rin. Rin is more straightforward. Chiron is more of a combo character, but when his combo does work against multiple enemies or bosses that summon garbage, he's absolutely phenomenal. And I was quite shocked by the numbers that he was dishing around. Absolutely fun to play, by the way. It's not a combo character in the sense that it's frustrating and you don't get the right things, which is what bothered me a little bit about Renoa. Chiron felt more solid from that point of view. And we now move to the 4 stars, of which we will all hopefully have multiple during the day. Nia, in theory, she's goated. Between fun and strong and goated. But honestly, if you start the game, you're on the beginner banner, you do a few pulls, you get Nia, build her instantly. Absolutely instantly. We are going to need 2 teams anyway to clear the endgame content. And depending on who you get as a limited or, you know, a standard 5-star, you may or may not need a second healer, a second sustain unit. She is a sustain unit who also helps your character deal more damage, and she kinda supports all your team. Genshin Impact, Bennett. Honkai Star Rail, Huo Huo. Zenless Zone Zero, let's say Lucy. Very, very strong. Absolutely phenomenal support unit. And the annoying thing is that if you get her, then this starting character loses 90% of the value. But, you know, it is what it is. We want you to go to Selena. Selena will put her in okay, but although she felt a bit solid and also fun and strong, but I will put her in okay, but mainly because I do not have anyone else on this tier, and you know, it's more pleasant. Selena deals a lot of damage, and she applies a buff that is unique to her at this time in the game, which is called a mark. And every time that you attack with her or with someone else, she will attack the character with a mark. A set amount of times, so it can be Mark 2, she attacks twice, Mark 5 for her ultimate, she attacks 5 times. So it feels like a passive way of dealing damage, but in order to do so, she needs to set up the mark, so she's still using the action points. She has a very strong AoE character, a strong AoE card, but in general she's mostly a single target damage dealer. I have not had great luck, or rather great performances with teams that had 2 damage dealers. My best teams all revolved around a damage dealer, a sustain, and someone, you know, in between, or a second sustain, something like that. Are we going to get teams with double damage dealer sustain? It's possible. For the time being, she felt, although her design is amazing, I really love her as a character. Among the characters that I tried, she felt a little bit could be better. Let's move to Tressa, who is a character who we are going to get for free almost immediately. In few minutes into the game, we unlock her during the story. She's not the first character, but she's one of the first characters. She is extremely solid. She feels like a huge upgrade compared to the actual starting characters, because we got 3. But even after that, she performs very well. She's an agony character, meaning she applies agony, which is a damage over time effect. And what is nice about it is that she deals a little bit of damage with her attacks, although not a lot. And then the agony stacks will stay there, ticking damage over time for quite a while, meaning that you can go all out on one turn, then set up a defensive turn to make sure that you don't take too much damage, and you can time things accordingly, like, because we know when the enemy is going to attack, you can set up your defenses when they're going to attack. Then, when you have a moment, you apply all your agony stacks that are going to tick over time, and then you go back to defense mode. She felt very strong, very, very strong. Especially as a 4-star, but in general, she was excellent. And Amir, I will put her in okay, but. And to explain why okay, but, we have to talk a little bit about the game mechanics. Shield in particular. The more shield you have, the better it is. And shields between different characters stack, meaning that if you generate a shield with Amir and you generate a shield with Magna, they stack. So let's say it's 100 from her, 100 from her, you have 200 shield. It's one single shield, and it's the overall value of your characters. Meaning that having more than one unit that can create a shield is actually a good thing, because you can get absolutely disgusting shield. The problem is, she's a okay shielder, and she deals a little bit of damage, but later on, very soon actually, there's going to be another unit who feels better than her from any point of view. She was not bad, and we may probably be getting her for free, but I was not particularly impressed by her during the playtest. Then we go to Lucas. Okay, but he's basically a 4-star version of Luke, and whereas Luke is a single target damage dealer, Lucas is an AoE damage dealer. I wasn't exactly blown away from his performance. A little bit of a Selena issue. Would I want him as the main damage dealer of the team? It's not a terrible option. And some of the characters that we get at the very beginning of the game are mostly single target. So if you get him and you like the dude and you want to build him, fine. We're going to need a bunch of characters anyway, but mine will probably stay at a very low level for a while. And then we go to Mary Bell. Mary Bell, we put her in Fun and Strong. Amazing shields, absolutely amazing. Some of the strongest shields in the game. She has counter attack just like Magna. And overall, she felt like an upgrade over Amir. Now, she needs quite a few action points to really get going. Because, you need to set up counter-attack, you need to set up shield, you need to do this, you need to do that. But if you have both Magna and Mary Bell, regardless of which cards you draw, you're pretty much guaranteed that at least one of them is going to have a set up counter-attack and some shield. And I completed everything that was in the playtest with Magna, Mary Bell, and Orlea, and they're here all together. And it was a slow grind. It was not like, yeah, let's go, one shot. No, all the fights took quite a bit of time, but they felt extremely safe. So as a 4-star, Mary Bell, excellent job. She generates so much shield, absolutely a ton of shield. The next one is going to be Mika. I will put her in okay, but when we start the game, she's our healer, and she's fantastic as a healer. And she has abilities that support your team. Great. The problem is that there is, Mika Hypermax available in the game as a pullable 4-star, and there is a very good chance you're going to get her on day one. If you get her on day one, the value of Mika is like pew off screen, in direction down, which is not a good thing. If you do not get her, you do not get Magna, you do not get any sustain, she's your only healer, fine. She's excellent. She's absolutely good, and she's going to carry you through the story and the first few Chaos exploration. But overall, her value feels slightly questionable if I try to look at things past day one. And then we have... she's great. Beryl has one of my favorite cards. Which is a support card that you can only use once, and it allows you to draw 3 cards. It's great. Unfortunately, it can only be used once, but it is what it is. And she's a solid character. Somewhere between a support with some shielding ability and a damage dealer. A very interesting character. She's the kind of character that if you have a team with a main damage dealer and a designed sustain, like, I don't know, her, she can fit the flex slot. She can do a bit of everything. And I found her very interesting. Fun character. She's a little bit overshadowed by another 4-star that we're going to see very soon. Oh, we're going to see him right now. Cassius. Cassius, very fun character and strong to play. He has a unique mechanic, which is a quest. Essentially, you use that card and you do nothing, but that card has some requirements. And when you meet those requirements, you generate 3 cards that are extremely good. And he's a flex character that can fit in any team. He provides a bit of healing, which is, it's never it's never bad in my limited experience of game to have a character that provides a little bit of healing. She's not going to be the sustain of your team. No, that's not how it works. But every now and then we get cheap damage, and you know, he does a bit of everything, and I've enjoyed playing him a lot. Definitely recommended to build on day one if you get him. Owen for me was a bit cringe because he has the dullest character, the dullest kit in the whole game. There is nothing particularly flashy about him. He's one of the three characters we get at the beginning of the game, and his kit is deal damage, stop a thing so that it deals more damage, deal damage, shield. Extremely basic character. Like, just by reading his cards, you can tell that he, you know, free starter character vibes. So yeah, definitely a character I would not be building past the starting stages. And unfortunately, Ray is in the same tier. She's the damage dealer, fairly basic at that. Fairly basic. Probably a little bit better than Owen, but I don't feel like putting her here. Like, for me, Selena, Mika, and others are way better than Ray. At least in my limited playtest experience. And I would not be building either of these characters unless my pools are so bad that I have no other options. But if your pools are so bad that your Ray and Owen are the best characters you have in your account, just reroll your account. There is the ability, the function to reset the account. Just do it. It's way better value. Okay, now that the list is complete, I will have another look at it to see if there is anyone that I would move up or down, but I think that this pretty much matches my limited experience in the limited playtest. And again, don't think these characters are good, these characters are ass. It's a matter of personal preference due to how the characters play, how they function within a team, how flexible they are, how fun I had playing them, and all the sort of stuff. And in this tier list, there is also a little bit of forward-looking brainstorming, as in Owen build value close to zero. Maylin, very strong character. If you get Maylin day one from the beginner banner, should you reset your account because Sir Grandalo put her in solid? No, she's going to be great. The problem is, you pull on the beginner banner, you get Maylin, you throw a few pulls on the standard banner or the limited banner, and you get Rin. I would build Rin. Same for, you get Maylin and Chiron. I would build Chiron. You get Maylin and Calliope. I would build Calliope. I would honestly build Calliope over most other characters just because she does everything. So, as I was saying earlier, I have my issues with that because she's going to get power crept hard eventually. It's going to happen to all of these characters because they are standard banner characters, but she's so versatile. She does so many things that her value for a day one 5-star character is off the charts. Obviously, I'm hoping to get Rin and my beloved Magna so that my two teams can be Gunnerina hyper carry and a Magna slow and long grind. But we are at the mercy of our RNG gods, so we shall see what we get. And now there are two options. You took part in the limited playtest or you did not. If you took part in the limited playtest, leave a comment and let me know what you think about the tier list. Not just something like, well, obviously Sir Grindalot is bad and you should feel bad. Something a bit more detailed, like, oh, Sir Grindalot, actually I played Owen in a team with Hugo and Chiron. What? And he was great. Oh, okay. Or something like, I played him but he was ass. You know, that kind of thing. Because I'm curious to see what other tester say, because I am in the content creator Discord, but it's not that we talk about how character X performs over character Y all the time. It's more like these things don't work. There is that bug. My computer was burned down in a fire after I installed the stove because it keeps crashing. No, that only happened to me. But regardless of that. And in the comments, I would really like to hear what you think, because there are two options. One is that you were part of a limited playtest, either because you were selected or you're a content creator. And if that's the case, I would like to hear what you think about my personal experience. Like, is there some character that I highly undervalue or that I highly overvalue based on what you played? Because we only had a few days, and a couple of those days were working days. So it's not like I could test everything, every team, every combination in depth. So I'm 100% sure that I missed something. So there may be, I don't know, a Calipe, Selena, Owen team that one-shots the universe. I don't know. It's possible. So just let me know. And if you were not part of a limited playtest and you have some questions, leave them in the comment and I will try to answer them as well as I could. And that will be all for now. Bye guys and take care.